friends, my name is Gabrielle and welcome to FrumiousReads, and today is a Tuesday, so we are going to talk about true crime. And before I start this video, I want to first tell you that I will be doing something new. I love true crime and I want to focus more on books from that genre as a whole. So I will be uploading true crime book talks every Tuesday and Thursday for the foreseeable future. And every Tuesday is going to be a true crime book of my choosing that I like and have read and want to talk about. And every Thursday will be a true crime book of your choosing. So before this video gets any further, I want you to go ahead and leave a true crime book recommendation in the comments down below. I will be choosing one of those to talk about on Thursday, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on Facebook to stay updated with what book I chose and will be talking about. And with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the true crime book of the day. The true crime book we are talking about today is Catch Me If You Can by Frank W. Abagnale. This book is claimed to be the real story of a true fake. In his lifetime as a con man, Frank W. Abagnale posed as a lawyer, as a pilot, as a corrections officer, and as a doctor. And he had also cashed over $2.5 million in forged checks, all before he was able to legally drink. And he got away with this for a surprisingly long amount of time. So in this book, we actually get a behind-the-scenes look of Frank's life during his time as a con man, from the beginning and where he first started in crime to how he finally got caught at the very end, and eventually how he ended up working for the FBI. Outside of the fact that it is crazy to see what Abagnale got up to during his time as a con man, I think it's really funny how we get this true story from a man who is so well known for manipulating others and leading others to believe what he wants them to believe. The supposed reliable narrator is actually the con man himself. That is a really cool aspect of this book that I like, is that we have to take that leap of faith while we read this book. It was incredible to me to read how well thought out some of these cons were. It was incredible to see the learning process between how Frank started off claiming he was a Pan Am pilot, how he learned the do and do nots of becoming a pilot and all of their jargon and slang, and how he got away with this for so long. He comes off as kind of like an evil genius in this book, and it's actually incredible. It's really interesting to read. I love seeing the behind the scenes and how like his mind was working while he was pulling off these cons at that time. I also have to say, I think it's amazing what Abagnale's done since he has gone on the straight and narrow, so to speak. He's actually gone on to work with the crime consultant division in the FBI, specifically working with forgery and other kind of paper trail cons like that. And he also helps recognizing criminals and putting them away for crimes that he had previously committed, and helping the FBI kind of up their security, and as well as other businesses and places like banks and airports and that side of thing, helping them increase their security so that other people can't get away with what he did. It is called to be like a captivating tale of deceit, and that's where I think comes into a lot of controversy that might surround this book a little bit. So basically it comes down to, what is the likelihood that in this book all of the crimes and everything that Frank Abagnale claims is actually true? Now, people may be wondering, like, what is the reason for lying? I guess since he has been out of the con game for such a long time. I don't know, honestly. I read this book with a slight little grain of salt. Some of it does sound too crazy to be true, but he did have kind of a crazy life. There have been some parts that people have kind of picked apart between his various interviews and then what's claimed in the book. Unfortunately, I have not been able to find sources for what these people claim, but I will list a couple of things, and if you guys see any sources or see any other discrepancies between Abagnale's interviews and then the book itself, please let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to know and hear from you guys. So a few of the claims I'm just going to read off are, he says that in the book that when mom finally divorced my father, I elected to live with dad. And then apparently in a number of recorded speeches, Frank says that he ran away the instant he found out his parents were getting divorced, which is also what was in the movie Catch Me If You Can with Tom Hanks and Leonardo DiCaprio. Another inaccuracy that has been claimed by various people is that when he says 10 minutes before the pilot was to make his landing approach, I rose and strolled back to one of the lavatories and locked myself inside. This is probably one of the more like daring and crazy escapes that Frank has had. In his speeches, Frank blames the toilet scene on the movie scriptwriters, and he actually escaped through the galley. So keeping those kind of inaccuracies in mind, it is hard to say whether you believe the entirety of this book or whether you think that some parts have been fantasized in order to kind of increase its appeal to the crowd. But honestly, I feel like this book is such an amazing read. Frank Abagnale is a fantastic storyteller, and just the stuff that happened in his life is so interesting, and you really get to get a good glimpse at the timeline of how these events happened, how he learned, and what his process of thinking was at the time. If you have not read this book yet, I definitely recommend you do. If anything, it is just a very fun and entertaining read, something light and something funny that is a different kind of taste from other well-known true crime books. If anything else, it's a fun and entertaining side to stuff that we usually only see through law enforcement officials' perspectives. It's always interesting to me to read a true crime book from the person who is committing the crimes themselves. Generally, they have a different take and different explanations, and so I found that fascinating this whole time in this book. But as for now, that's all I have for Catch Me If You Can. I'd love to know if you have read it. Please let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts of this book are, and how reliable do you think the narrator himself is? I'd love to know what you're thinking. And before you go, I just want to remind you once again, make sure you leave your true crime book recommendations in the comments down below. I'll be going through and picking one of yours as the book rec of the week on Thursday and sharing that with you guys, and then that will be the book that I'm talking about that day. So make sure you leave your true crime book rec in the comments down below, and I may have and I may be picking yours. So you never know. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on Facebook to stay updated on what true crime book that will be and who I picked, whose recommendation I chose. But for now, that's all I have for you today. So thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you later. Okay, bye.